Number 8. Call of Duty Rivals. On February 25, 2021, 18-year-old Guillermo Alves Costa and 19-year-old Ingrid Oliveira Bueno de Salva played in opposing Call of Duty mobile teams, where the two went by Flashlight and Soul. They lived in the city of Sao Paulo, Brazil, where they regularly competed in tournaments together. The two were extremely competitive with each other in the game, and this took a turn for the worse when Alves invited Ingrid over to his house for a tournament. While Ingrid, better known as Soul, thought that she would just be visiting his house to play a game, shortly after she arrived, Alves reportedly assaulted her, beat her black and blue, and then stabbed her numerous times and left her to bleed until she died. The exact way he killed her and how many people were present at the time of the murder is unclear, but it was enough to leave her bloodied and lifeless on the floor. After murdering her, Alves filmed her lifeless body soaked with blood, bragging about how he finally managed to kill her and forwarded the video to his gamer buddies on WhatsApp. He even added that, quote, "This isn't some sort of editing or ink, it's all real," end quote, as if he was proud of the whole ordeal. He also left a 25-page manifesto next to her body, saying he murdered her because he was tired of life and didn't have any goals. He called his family to tell them that he was going to commit suicide, but was talked out of it by his brother. The body of Soul was also discovered by his brother. He was arrested shortly after the whole ordeal, and the video of Soul's lifeless body was, unfortunately, spread all over the internet. When he was asked why he murdered her, Alves revealed that he just wanted to and had been planning this encounter for weeks, and that Ingrid had finally, quote, crossed his paths. Alves' defense sought to keep him in a mental health facility instead of a prison, but that doesn't seem likely due to the premeditated nature of the attack. He was declared mentally fit to stand trial and faces up to 30 years in prison when he's eventually sentenced. He's currently being kept in an undisclosed jail in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Number 7. Ice Ice Gamer. On April 5, 2021, a Pakistani man from Lahore named Bilal, who was addicted to the mobile game PUBG, committed the worst crime possible after resisting his family's desire for him to stop playing the game. Reports show that he was addicted to ice, aka crystal meth. On top of all that, his wife recently divorced him. He became enraged after his mother had given him an ultimatum to quit meth, while other members of his family had sold the gaming setup that he used to play PUBG. After getting into an argument with his family over his addictions, Bilal went out of his house to get a gun, and soon as he returned, he opened fire on multiple family members. He shot at his mother, brother, sister-in-law, sister, and a passerby, killing all of them except his mother, who was critically injured and sent to the hospital. After the shooting, local residents stormed Bilal and restrained him, handing him over to the police who had just arrested him. He confessed to the murders, not showing any remorse for the crimes that he had just committed. Bilal reportedly killed his family in the same, quote, style as the PUBG video game, almost as if he was cosplaying as a PUBG character. The drugs obviously played a huge part in these murders, but we can't overlook the video game addiction aspect of the incident either. The case was picked up by the Lahore police. The exact sentencing details weren't reported, but Pakistan carries a death sentence for murder, and since there's ample security footage of the whole incident, which was aired all over television, it's likely that he will be receiving the death sentence. Number 6. Florida Gamer. On August 26, 2018, the city of Jacksonville, Florida was holding an esports tournament for the popular game Madden NFL, when one of the most gruesome incidents in the history of esports occurred. One of the gamers was named David Katz, a 24-year-old from Baltimore who had previously won around $10,000 in another Madden tournament. Katz was known for his short temper while playing games, and he also legally owned several guns for self-defense purposes. He used to take his guns everywhere he went in the trunk of his car. Katz also had a history of mental problems and had been admitted into mental institutes multiple times in his life prior to this incident. At the 2018 Jacksonville Madden tournament, Katz was acting rather strange. Players reported that Katz refused to shake the hands of any of the players who would beat him and was getting increasingly frustrated at the whole event the more he would lose. While constantly losing at a video game is enough to get anyone frustrated, what happened next is simply on another level. Katz stormed out of the tournament and went to his car, where he got out 2 semi-automatic, legally purchased pistols. Once he had the handguns, he returned to the tournament. Overlooking the crowd of attendees who numbered in the hundreds, Katz shot at them indiscriminately with his handguns, killing 2 people immediately and injuring at least 10. The fatalities included 22-year-old Elijah Clayton and 27-year-old Taylor Robinson. Soon after, Katz pointed the gun towards himself and pulled the trigger. The whole incident had taken place before police could even be informed of what was going on, and it's unclear whether Katz had intended to carry out a shooting prior to the event, or if he had spontaneously just thought of the idea. Number 5. Skyrim Murder. In early 2021, Ali Nassar Abulaban, a 29-year-old from East Village, Manhattan, otherwise known as Jin Kid, became incredibly popular due to his quote, Skyrim in real life videos on TikTok, in which he impersonates multiple Skyrim characters. While his humor may have resonated with a lot of his fans, what he did next was anything but funny. In real life, Ali was going through some issues. His wife was in the process of leaving him, and he suspected that she was in a relationship with one of their friends, Rayburn Barron. Reportedly, the couple had separated, and Ali had been stalking his wife Anna for a couple of weeks now. He even installed an app on his daughter's iPad which he could use to monitor his wife's activity. In October of 2021, Ali had heard his wife talking to another man on the surveillance app he had downloaded on his daughter's iPad, and immediately thought that she was having an affair. He went to his wife's apartment armed with a gun, shot the man who his wife was with multiple times, and then shot his wife in the head. Both the victims died after the incident, including his 28-year-old wife Anna and his 29-year-old friend Rayburn. He went to pick his daughter up from school shortly after, where he was quickly arrested by police. His trial has yet to begin, although Ali claims to be not guilty. The verdict will be given on January 5th, 2022. How much time do you think Ali should get for his crimes? Let us know in the comments below, and if you're liking this video, be sure to hit the thumbs up and subscribe buttons if you haven't already. Number 4. Additional features. Here's another incident regarding PUBG addiction that occurred in the state of Chhattisgarh, India. In this case, a 17-year-old victim who was addicted to PUBG just wanted to buy some additional features in the game. Since he couldn't afford any of the features himself, he decided to ask his friend for some help. Promising him that he would return the money, what no one expected was the severity of the PUBG addiction. Chhattisgarh is considered one of the poorest states in India, and the boy had borrowed up to 75,000 rupees, which is just over $1,000 or multiple times the average monthly salary in the state. When his friend Shavan Kunti wanted his money back, he came up with excuses. Kunti decided to take the boy out for a trip, hoping to get him drunk and find out whether he really has any money. Even when he was drunk, the boy only made more excuses, which led to an argument, and Kunti promptly slit the boy's throat with a knife. Later on, Kunti pretended like he had kidnapped the victim and called the victim's mother, asking for 500,000 rupees so they could see their child return. However, this led to the parents calling the police instead, and the police used security camera footage to trace down where the victim may have been and ended up finding Kunti, who had confessed to the crimes. Shavan Kunti, the perpetrator, will likely face the death penalty for his crimes, which is the minimum punishment for murdering a minor in India. Number 3. Online Pals. On February 17, 2014, Breck Bednar, a 14-year-old from Surrey, England, was found stabbed and dying just weeks before his 15th birthday. Bednar grew up playing a lot of video games and was generally good at making friends through that platform. He grew up in a posh locality and generally had everything going for him. However, his gaming habits started to concern his mother, specifically the types of players he was friends with. Reportedly, his mother had forbidden him from gaming with another specific player because that player had started to influence Breck in a manner that made him act out and refuse to attend church. She believed that this older friend had changed Breck's ideology and personality and overall had a negative effect on his life. The other boy's name was Lewis Danes, who was just 18 years old. Breck's mother even contacted the local police and reported that her son may be in the process of being groomed, but the police simply took that report as a warning and didn't take any direct actions against the 18-year-old, considering he was just a young boy himself. Breck spent the weekends with his father, but on February 17, 2014, instead of going to his father's house, he went to Louis Dane's apartment in Essex. When he got to the apartment, Louis stabbed Breck multiple times in the neck. Louis had apparently taken photos of Breck right after stabbing him, and the photos managed to reach his younger siblings, who told their parents. The parents then called the police and the paramedics. Breck was still alive when the paramedics arrived, but later he would pass on directly at the scene. Louis was later arrested by the local police, and during the trial, it was concluded that Louis was mentally sound at the time of the crime because of the sophisticated manner with which he had planned the murder. Louis was given a life sentence and has to spend a minimum of 25 years behind bars. Number 2. Marathon. PIYAWAT HARIKUN was a 17-year-old from Thailand who was obsessed with gaming and used to go on gaming marathons that lasted hours, if not days. During these marathons, gamers usually put their full attention towards the video game, and they avoid eating or drinking since they're, quote, distractions. Usually, gaming marathons are extremely stressful and high intensity. They definitely shouldn't be played by someone who can't handle the stress. Unfortunately for Harikun, he was one of the few who couldn't handle the stress. On November 5th, 2019, after a video game marathon that lasted multiple nights with seemingly no breaks in between, the 17-year-old was found unconscious by his father, who went up to check on him. Apparently, he had suffered a stroke, probably from the stress that's associated with gaming for days on end. He was found lifeless on his computer chair, with his surroundings absolutely littered with trash and empty food packets. Paramedics quickly arrived at the scene. However, they were unable to revive him, and he was pronounced dead. His father said that he had made multiple attempts to warn him about his dangerous habits, but it was too late. He had already died before he got the chance to show any change. He warned other parents to monitor and restrict their children's video game playing hours, so that they don't have to face the same fate as his son did. Number 1. Virtual Combat. Zhu Kaowan and 40-year-old Kui Chengwei were both two of the top players of The Legend of Mir in Shanghai, China. In 2005, they had jointly won a rare weapon that was almost impossible to get. Zhu decided to sell that weapon for over $1,000 without informing Kui. When Kui went to the police to report the incident as theft, he was told that virtual weapons were not protected under Chinese law, and thus he could do nothing about it. Zhu had made a promise to Kui that he would give him his share of the money, but it seemed like that was not enough. On March 29, 2005, Kui went over to Zhu's house and reportedly stabbed him on the left side of his chest with great force, almost instantly killing him. The story was initially reported by Chinese newspapers, but later information about the sentencing remains unclear. However, China has one of the strictest legal systems in the world, and Kui likely received the death penalty for his crime. Thanks for watching. What's the biggest lesson you learned from this video? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. See you next time on The Bad Badger.